How you doing? Good, I hope. I'm doing good. Nice day in the shop. It's gonna be 75 today. We had a low of 52 last night for Northeast. I'll take it. Buckins 371. Uh, Part of the deal on this is I knew the saw had been apart an awfully long time. And I didn't know why. And well, there. It looks like it had a long, strong life logging, and then the next person that got it was kind of rough, and well, you know. So, anyways, I wanted to get it back together, get it running, see what we got, see what we want to change when they had the cylinder back off, if anything, and get an impression of the saw. You knew we were going to take it apart. We're going to put new bearings and seals in it. Mod the oil pump. I'll show you what I do with them on these saws. Okay, and with 32-inch bar bucking runs, he needs more oil. So that's what we're gonna do. Also in these saws, you had set from the 365 special all the way to the 372, many years and changes and revisions. There was one of them flywheels that was much lighter than the rest. And as many of these old junk Hulks I've got from using them so darn many years, I'm surely going to have one of them flywheels. We're also going to talk about ignition advances. And so this is going to be covered. I did get it running. I put a new fuel line in it, and it cured the problem. But we knew that in the last video, didn't we? Okay. This saw's set here all night. I've got 3 heat cycles on it. Started tuning the carburetor minor. It's reacting fairly decent. And another thing, we have a really nice guy from Australia has built an iron horse pipe out of stainless for us to put on this saw to test. And we're going to do that as soon as it comes in. But I'll start it with this can muffler with this bluey pipe. They don't really do much, but they get the heat out. These muffler mods, they're a little louder, but you're not going to see a measurable gain. At least don't get losses. But you get your heat out of your saw. It might gain a little bit if you get the tube in there exactly the right distance. It seems to be about a half an inch. And so I don't know what's going to happen. Might as well just do it right on video. We've added a little compression to the saw, but I didn't want it hard to start. We wanted to be able to use a decomp on it. So just bear with me, folks, and let's just see what it'll do. It's probably low on gas, but we got gas. It's definitely stiffer today because decomp is pushed in. The switch is on. Okay. It ought to try to pick that gas up, you would think. I am not priming the saw. It's just going to start. Oh, I found my gas tank cap. The one that matches the oil cap. I did find it. Yeah, it's right where I left it. You're looking for things, you're carrying something in your hand, you set it down. Oh, there it is. Walk off. That's what happens. loving it. It was real low on fuel. Right there where they'll start, but, you know, you got to work at it. Okay, now what we're going to do, I fogged the shop up. I could turn this up just a little further once we've broke the saw all the way in. And it gained the proper amount of heat. While it works just nicely uncomfortable, you ain't laying a hand on it very long before you turn them up. Wicks up good. It does everything I want it to do right now. It does it right now. But it's going to be a fairly good RPM saw. You know, for a work saw, it's going to be a fairly good RPM saw. It's got the earmarks. It still goes up the top and will flutter, you know, 4-stroke. And there's a lot more left. And so it'll probably end up tuning another 1,000 RPMs past this. I would expect this to be around 14,000 as a finished product. But so let me get my handle off, side cover, one thing and the other, and I'll bring you right back in, and we'll just sit here together and have a great day, a little cup of coffee, maybe some gum, and do this together. Okay, I've got a few things off here. About a 5-minute little process. Now we're taking the cylinder off. That's just about as tight as you want them. I like these T-wrenches because you just kind of give them till they twist real good, and that's tight enough. And I don't use power saws on tools. How's that one? I don't use tools on power saws. I think if I worked on newer saws, I probably would for at least disassembly. But this old stuff, you can get in trouble if you're not careful. And I know there's a lot of people that do it. Successfully, might add. But it's just not... Maybe my saws that I get, they're so junk already that I gotta be cautious. I was kind of happy with the cylinder. It cleaned up quite nice. Actually, what I did to get that carbon and the grease all the way off, I mix a 30% solution of simple green or mean green and water, and 70% water in my sonic cleaner. And it generally does a good job, but this cylinder was extra grubby. So what I did is I left the heat on, just the heat on, where it was steaming a little. I mean, it was fairly warm. I don't have a digital one. It's got hand cranks. How's that? And so fairly hot. I left that on for all weekend last weekend. And I come out here Monday morning. That was clean. Look just like this. So you can take them old nasty grubby cylinders and make them look good if you want to, but that's what it took for me. Of all of the solutions over the years we've bought for sonic cleaners and stuff that we've seen other people use, I came down to that simple green or mean green, either one is about the best. There's no magic solution, but boy, I'll tell you what, it did work. It works awfully good. I clean my carburetors in the same stuff, but I've got a smaller sonic cleaner for my carburetors. I mix that about 15%. Okay, I don't get it as, let's just call it what it is. It's thick. I don't get it as thick. Okay, that should be ready to pull off. That motor seal, you gotta break that seal. That does get on there. Don't pinch on this side on the 372s. That strap will break. You don't want that. I don't know if I can find my screwdriver I want. I'll pop this motor off. I had somebody in the comments last week So I don't like motor seal. It's junk. I use blah blah blah. Well, good for you. I've never had a cylinder leak. Never. And so if something is that good for that many decades, I'm gonna keep right on using it. That's the way it is. The only thing is I gotta clean it all off. Okay, I'm gonna give it just a little inspection here. Oh my goodness, does that ever look so nice? Looks so good. I'm so happy with this cylinder. I love this cylinder. I absolutely do. There's some crud coming out of that case. There was a lot of, because the original piston in this had damage. And there was just a lot of black crap down that case. Even though you flush it out, it keeps, I mean, that stuff right there just keeps coming right out. But I tell you what, guys, ran into something. I really did. And I got a solution to it. We've got so many holes, including to hold the starter cover on, that I don't mind repairing one or two, but I don't want every damn hole in a set of cases repaired, okay? So what I'm going to probably end up doing here is hunting around and digging and seeing if I got another set of 371 cases that are more serviceable, because this right here is broke. Right where them bar studs go through, somebody did something terrible and they broke that. See that? See how that's moving? They broke that. Bar studs dropped out. And then you got the holes for your dogs here are stripped out. And the top hole on this side and the top hole on this side here, they're both stripped. And other than that, they're a nice set of cases. We got a chunk missing right here in front. I don't consider that a defect on this saw. But I think we're going to dig up another set of cases. I think we're just better off, don't you? I think our crank's fine, but I've got an awful lot of these exact same cranks that are awful good. So what we'll do is make sure that we got one that either it's got the hole already for the chain tensioner in the front for the 371, or it's where we can put it in. But I want the same numbers, cases, if at all possible. And, geez, I don't know how many people's got these things left, but I've got a few. I've sorted them out over the years and built the better ones already. And, but I don't know what the deal is with saws that come out of Canada. A surprising a lot of them won't hold bar studs or are broke right here, where this one is. But they also, they have, and we see them here too, same thing, that where the dogs mount in the front, them screws are stripped. We see a lot of that, but more out of Canada, for whatever reason. Maybe they do more logging than we do. I can't imagine. But yeah, this saw definitely, it looks like the last year of its life it had a hard life. That's what it looks like. But it's a good saw. And we got it running really nice. I'm quite happy with that. And I don't expect anything bad to happen with this. I really was very seriously considering lightening that crank. I'd like to get a little weight off of that, because we have a significantly lighter piston than what we originally had. And I thought, well, we can stand to shed some weight off. This don't vibrate for nothing. It's about what it's supposed to be. It's quite nice. Lovely, in fact. Turns up quick, don't it? Wait till it gets broke in, and we'll see what it'll do then. That'll tell the whole story. It's nice and quick now, and it's only going to get better. Yeah, that was the air diverter was broke. That one seemed unusually thin. They had one that was a little thicker, and I'll dig one of them up. So it's an evolution of things. So when you got lots and lots of different variations of the same model, you learn which was the nicer ones. Wow, that freaking bolt hole right there has only got like that one. Has only got just a couple threads in the bottom. I see that's wallowed out. You can see it yourself. That's wallowed out some kind of bad, isn't it? I think that's a good decision, changing the cases. I really do. Come on, girl. That fuel line out first. Okay, got the package tray out. Boy, it's grubby old girl. We're going to make it pretty. It ain't going to be brand new, but we want it to look better than it is, honestly. That's what I expect anyway. Okay, so we've got all that cleared out. Now what I got to do is get the gas tank off. These guys, you just hold your mouth right. That's all you got to do. They're a little bit of a puzzle. And then when we put them together, I'll show you some old auger tricks that made these just a little nicer than the factory. And as soon as we get the tank off, I'll show you one of the things we did. And you'll appreciate it. Yeah, these old saws are, God, just to me, it seems like just yesterday they came out. But these are old. For what we had to run back in the day, when Husky came out with this 371, and a few years later, Steel knew they had a problem. They came out with that old 46. That old 46 was a pretty serious saw. But I still like the 044 better because it was just a little lighter. The 046 steel was on a slightly bigger frame, so there wasn't a lot of interchangeability between the two. Those of you that may already know, but I'll tell you anyway, you can take an 044 and get an 046 cylinder on that. You can do it. You got some work you got to do, but you can do it. You can take an 044 and turn it into one. Okay. Now, I got to make sure to get my wiring out. If I'm in a yank and I just start ripping and tearing, it generally doesn't go good. Because I get it hard. It's called the Harvey Drake rip and tear method. Or at least to be called that anyway. Okay, so we're good to that point. I don't need that piston in there slopping around. I can take that out anytime I want. Let's get that out of the way right now. I'll tell you what I ran into with this 268 piston with this old 44 steel wrist pin. I had to shorten that wrist pin just slightly. So I did. But I got it. Okay. Well, we're making headway. Won't be long now. Okay. Okay, I got a little bolt here I forgot about. Ain't one done with these since before I got sick. And I got 2 or 3 more I got to get finished up for some friends. And we'll get them. There's a special bolt right here. Don't lose it. You can make one. I have had to before. But you'll see it's got, what you do is you take that size bolt, turn threads off, get down to a pin. That's all you do. There we go. Okay, one of the deals that we did was these have a rubber isolator right here, okay? See that? And it sits on this. See the thickness of that? I caught a piece of 5/16 just fuel line, gas line, for automotive. Slightly bigger diameter. And what that'll do is it gives it more of a buffer, because this pin sits right here in this area of the saw. That's what it bumps up against with this rubber. So you get it just a little bigger. You get just a little, you want movement there, but you'll get just a little less movement. Little tip of the day right there. Okay, I've been digging, and I've been digging. And of all that style cases for them 371s that I have, something's broke somewhere. So far, knock on wood, there may be a solution here. I was looking for complete cases. See, this is what I run into. Like, that hole right there for that spring mount, that's gone. Okay, the hole for the dog is busted out. I think we're right down to the point where we're going to have to start taking cases to the weld shop to save some of these old ones. But, what do we got here? That's the right case. Can we use this? It's been welded in the front. I see it's either a heavy scratch right there in the front. I don't know. Yeah, you see it right into my finger. Or it could be a crack. But it's got the hole right there by my finger for the a chain tensioner. And it's got the right numbers on it. I guess what I should do is see how far that crack goes. If it's a crack, may not be a crack. This kind of stuff's kind of scary to me, guys. You gotta see where it. Okay, it's not a crack. Now we're on to something. We're getting somewhere, finally. Okay, so what I need to do is get this one broke down to where I got the other one. Crank, so far the crank looks pretty damn, well, it's got a little black on it, but that may or may not be a defrag. I've got cranks. The crank that's in bucket saw looks pretty good. We're going to put the best crank we got in it. That's for this series of saw. So let me get this one broke down. I was going to show you another difference in the 372, 371. When they had the chain adjuster in the side cover, this saw did, but it was an early one, so it could have had the chain adjuster up front by the bar. This is the 372 version. They're just slotted here. The 371, if you look, it had this little tab right here. And now what that little tab's mission in life was, is that went around that adjuster that come in from the front to keep that from backing up too far. That's what that did. Okay, it's time to get the case splitter out. This is what they look like. These notches, you line your crank straight up and down. Slide that in there, inside your case. You have a recess in your end of your crank. Kind of jiggle wiggle that around so that you're pulling even. Now, what you got to keep in mind is that these things will hang up on the pins, okay? So you don't want to pry between your cases. Just don't. If you're going to do that, destroy cases, just send them to me first, and I'll send you some bad cases back. Now you want pretty good pressure. Now see, that's already starting to come somewhere right there in the back. Okay, so what I got to do is encourage that up here in the front. Now I've got a dead blow hammer, but it's not on the bench. See, I got the cases coming. Just a little. Don't pull too hard. Just, yeah, hard enough. Get a little pressure, and then tap. Make sure it's coming even. There's 6 bolts in Husqvarna 372 cases. 371. Just nice little gentle tap, little twist. Take your time. Okay, we're end up pretty even. So that comes out of that pin. Once that, okay, see that pin's released. See how they're twisting? Now we're just pulling it off the bearing is all we're doing now. Not a big deal, is it? And of course, like every other time, we got to make sure that all our bolt holes are good. Which I looked at it pretty hard. I put the ones I know are problems. I already had checked, but I mean they're just kind of a grubby old case. They're going to be paint missing. These saws are built 98, 99, 2000. You're going to have this. It's just what you're going to get, and this is what you look like. I'm not going to use this particular crank in bucking saw. I think it'll run, but in something for me I will, because the end of that rod's bent hot. Okay. So this right here, at least it'll get you where you can see the location just a little better. Once I get it all the way backed up. Okay, see how that just kind of fits inside that case, and you line your crank up that way, and then you just pull, and that just shoves that crank right out of there with no damage. Now we have special tools to pull the cranks back in too, and I'll show you. Neighbor's getting ready to blast off. Okay, there's our crank. Honestly, the crank feels pretty dang good, but see that dark? That at one point did get hot. Okay, I've seen them worse than that. So I happen to know I've got a nice crank over on the other bench, and now this is what your oil pickup looks like in your tank, and we just gotta get that up out of there. I didn't really want to use that pick, but I will. It just lifts up. Okay, now I've got all the bolts for yet another saw all took apart. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'll probably pressure wash these up back, and then I'll throw them in my sonic cleaner, and we'll get these cleaned up. And but I got to make sure every bolt hole is perfect. I don't care about paint missing, but I want bolt holes. And these gaskets can be a bugger. I ought to show you how I get them off. You just be careful. I'll just tell you that right now. Just be careful when you do it, and you're good to go. Okay, now this is how you save these old saws. You better have a pile of them for parts. If you want to build one, you better have 5 saws. Because you're going to need bolts from this, and you're going to need cuts from that, and this other thing's going to be bad, and this is missing a clip, and you don't even know if there's a carburetor even there. So you got to spend $100 on eBay or whatever. But it is what it is. Okay, guys, I'll get these cleaned up. Give me a day or two. Let's see where we're at, and maybe we can start assembling something. What do you think? It's going to be an awesome saw with a lot of work involved. Thanks for being here, guys. Goodbye.